it's Connecticut personal injury attorney Ryan McKeen here. One of the things that happens is when a case settles, clients always want to know, well, when am I going to get my money? How long is it going to take to get my money? And so the answer to that is it depends. Maybe not a surprising answer from a law firm, but a surprising answer from a lawyer, but a very honest answer. And so here's what it depends on. I'm going to break down the process for you. So usually a settlement agreement is reached over the phone. It could be via Zoom, it could be via email, but some method like that where the parties agree that the case will resolve for a certain amount of money. Then what happens is the insurance company has a release of claims, which just basically says that the case is settled for this much money. You give up all claims against the person who caused this, and you forever release this. And it's important that if you're settling a case that you understand the language of the release. You understand the significance of it, which means you can never come back and ask for more. But the release gets sent over, it gets reviewed by the attorney. The attorney then sends it to be signed, or the person comes in. Oftentimes they're e-signed in 2021. So you're going to have to sign that release. Once that release gets signed, it goes back to the insurance company. Once they've received it pursuant to Connecticut law, they have 30 days from the date they receive it to send a check to your lawyer. And usually, practically, the insurance companies are bad about pretty much everything else, but they're pretty fast about getting out checks. They usually come 2 to 3 weeks after they get the release. They're pretty good about sending these checks, but know that they have up to 30 days from the date that they receive the release. So you're going to want to sign that. Now, your law firm like ours, oftentimes we will have our clients sign check authorizations, and this really speeds things up because the check gets made out to us as your lawyer and to the client. And what has to happen is we have to deposit that check in a secure account called a client's funds account, okay? So if you don't sign a check authorization, you may have to come into the law firm to sign the check yourself. Otherwise, if you have a check authorization, the lawyer can sign for both you and the law firm and deposit that into a secure account. If you ever have any questions, you can not hesitate to ask me about it. But if you don't have me, ask your lawyer about this specific process. So the sooner the check can get deposited, it goes into a client's funds account. It has to then clear that account. So sometimes checks clear in a few days, sometimes it's a week. Figure it's going to be a week after the deposit before the funds will be ready for you. Now, in that process, your law firm should be doing things like there may be liens on your file, and sometimes liens need to be resolved at the end of a case. So your lawyer should be trying to resolve these liens for you because you can't disperse until you resolve the liens. And disbursement is really what the client cares about because that's when they get their check. So once the liens are cleared up, once there's a disbursement sheet that gets signed that says, here's the fee for the lawyer, here's the expenses, here are all these different things, the disbursement sheet gets signed, then the bookkeeper for the firm is going to cut the checks. And they're going to say, okay, the law firm gets this much, the treating doctor gets this much for their lien, the client gets this much, and usually, again, that can be done, the day after all the funds are cleared, and then you've got to, either come in and get your check, or it could be FedEx to you overnight, but it's got to be a check because you can't really wire money out of client's funds account. That's really frowned upon by the statewide grievance committee and bar ethics people. So there's almost always going to be a check. Like we can't PayPal money or Venmo money, which we sometimes get asked to do. So, I would say typically in most cases, you sign the release, probably in about a month you have your check. Sometimes it's 3 weeks, sometimes it's faster than that even. Sometimes it's a little bit longer than that if we have to deal with liens. And as I talk about these things, cases involving wrongful death, like those may require probate court approval. That's going to take a lot longer. Or cases involving minors that may need probate court approval. Well, those are different kinds of cases. But these very specific things, this is typically how long to expect. I would tell clients probably pretty much 3 weeks. Sometimes it could be a little bit longer if it's complicated, sometimes a little bit shorter, but that's a general settlement process, and those are general timelines. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call, 860-471-8333.